I've got my hands on a document detailing what appears to be a group therapy session offered over Zoom to employees of Natural Resources Canada who were traumatized by last year's Freedom Convoy. We're going to go through it together today. Have you ever thought to yourself, how is it even remotely possible that Canada can't get any oil and gas infrastructure built in this country, given that we have the world's third largest proven reserves of oil? I mean, we do have a bit of an anti-oil idiot in the Prime Minister's office right now who's being bolstered and propped up by an even more unserious anti-oil NDP leader in Jagmeet Singh. But if you ever needed more proof, as if you needed more proof, well, wonder no more, friends. I want to show you what's taking high priority in the Natural Resources Ministry. And I can show you these things today thanks to your generous crowdfunding donations to our special research and access to information filing fund at Rebel Investigates. Now, as you know, we rely on the support of our viewers at home because we are truly and fiercely independent, so we'll never take a penny from any level of government. I mean, how could we ever hold the government to account if we were on their payroll? Mainstream media anyway. On February 15th, 2022, February 15th of all days, Natural Resources Canada held a safe space session on the impacts of the Freedom Convoy protest. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Freedom Convoy took place in late January through to mid-February 2022, wherein thousands of Canadians engaged in an entirely peaceful trucker-led protest in Ottawa in opposition to vaccine and other COVID mandates until such time, actually February 14th, the day before this self-help seminar, the federal government invoked a never-before-used counterterrorism law called the Emergencies Act to arrest the leaders of the convoy protests, seize the assets of supporters and participants, and charge those engaged in the peaceful demonstration. Again, February 15th, 2022, one day after the absolutely unprecedented authoritarian use of the Emergencies Act by the federal government, bureaucrats at Natural Resources Canada had their little safe space meeting for an hour to, quote, provide an opportunity for Natural Resources Canada employees to talk about the impact of the Freedom Convoy on their lives. And I love how they use the scare quotes around Freedom Convoy. These people give a pretty detailed agenda here, which I thought was kind of funny because it gives also detailed instructions about how to use the raise hand mode in Zoom. These documents talk about how employees are going to be called upon one by one to share their stories. They're literally not even in the office. They're on Zoom. So I'm not sure how their jobs at Natural Resources Canada's head office in Ottawa were affected by any of this. I'm not sure they were there, and I'm not even sure that I care. Look at this. What has the impact been for you? How are you coping? What supports are helping or could help? People in the Freedom Convoy were protesting for their jobs, the right to travel around their own country, to visit their loved ones in Canada. And these people are talking about how they needed supports to cope. You know what? This confirms. I came by my opinions on the PSAC strike, the public sector service strike, quite honestly. These people even give their script to me in this document, which again, I enjoyed immensely. Look at this. Thank you for being here. Thank you to our colleagues from the employee networks and from the Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for creating this safe space. I had no idea such an office existed. I hope they were on strike too. Anyway, since my email to staff highlighting the impact of the Freedom Convoy protest, it's become clear that an open conversation was needed. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to get my hands on that email too. I'm filing for access to information for that email. If you want to help, rebelinvestigates.com. Thank you very much. Let's keep going. Everyone has been affected by these protests, including me. But they never say how. Anyway, let's keep going. There are people here from communities who have been particularly hurt by these images. There are people who have spent the past 2 weeks living in the noise and the chaos of these protests and finding it very hard. There may be people here who support the objectives of the protest but don't approve of the behavior of the participants. What behavior is that? Singing, soaking in hot tubs, dancing in the street, picking up garbage, feeding the homeless. Who would not approve of that behavior. Anyway, I do enjoy how these bureaucrats don't leave the option for both agreeing with the protests and agreeing with the behavior of the participants. Like, that wasn't even a consideration. Let's keep going through these documents because we're going to get into some real jack-handy self-help nonsense right away. That is all okay, and it is okay not to be okay, not to be okay. Huh? What? We all have our own experience, our own story. We are here to learn from each other and to heal. Holy moly, to heal. From what? These absolute drama queens. I'm learning that this is the culture here. You work hard to create value for Canadians, and you work just as hard to support each other through the tough times. I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful to be here at Natural Resources Canada. What value are they bringing to the table here? I just want a pipeline. I just want a pipeline. I don't want to provide group therapy sessions to people who are traumatized by honking. I don't. I really don't. Let's keep going through the document, though, here before I lose my mind, because it becomes clear. These people didn't want to hear from their employees if the employees supported the convoy. If you are not annoyed at a honk or two here or there, or a little bit of a traffic snarl, you don't get to talk during these group therapy sessions. Look at this. Media coverage of persons carrying symbols of hate like Confederate and Nazi flags have particularly affected Indigenous, Black, or other racialized people. The Jewish community, as well as the two SLGBTQAI plus community, I think I got it there, those who live and work near the protests have been disturbed by the incessant noise and taunting, and many are fearful of walking in the streets. There are a lot of allegations being tossed around there, but the managers at Natural Resources Canada, they don't want to hear from anyone who doesn't believe that those allegations are true. Look at this. The event is not about debating the right to protest nor the effectiveness of vaccine mandates. It is a space for those affected by the actions of individuals associated with the protest to share their experiences and for us to learn from them. There will be no tolerance for hate or discrimination at this dialogue, except tolerance for discrimination against those who supported the convoy and who unfortunately still work for Natural Resources Canada, you poor souls. It is a safe space where we will demonstrate empathy, trust, and understanding and support for all, especially those who will be sharing how they are affected. And this, friends, is why we can't build anything nice in this country. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. If you'd like to support our access to information filing, wherein we are able to hold the government to account for things they do and say behind closed doors, please consider making a donation to our special fund at rebelinvestigates.com. And thank you to everybody who donates to make this important accountability work possible.